What up? What up? Welcome back to another episode from What's the Word Entertainment. Of course, I am again your host, Sherm, and I am again joined by my interim co-host, Obed, who I believe is still trying to recover from eating all that Thanksgiving food last week. How are you, sir?
Big Worm. Big Sherm. I'm great. The itis was not good to me. It was not my friend. I was slipping in and out, but the tryptophan is worn off. I'm glad to be back.
I like it. Right, perfect, man. I like it, man. And new to the show this week is my other friend named Chris, and hopefully, like the other Chris, he won't be driving during this show. What's good with you, man?
What's going on, folks? How you guys doing tonight? How you guys doing?
Good, man. Good, man. Glad to have you here. Appreciate it coming out this week.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
So this week, so we're going to get into a few different things, the NFL, some college football and stuff. But as I just mentioned, Thanksgiving. So speaking of that, of course, we all know after Thanksgiving follows Black Friday. And Black Friday is obviously sometimes an overhyped and over big day. Sometimes it's blown out of proportion. But it's really that time where parents can save a little money, buying little Johnny a new toy truck while trampling over other shoppers, trying to save that extra $15. Or where folks can get, folks get jumped in the parking lot for getting that last 55-inch Insignia TV for $500, or that $300, Lenovo laptop for daughter Susie in college because she's busy spending all their money on light beer and sorority tie-dye T-shirts. So my question really is Black Friday really worth it? Or even my second question, is it even necessary? Do you guys take advantage of it? Obed, I'll start with you. I mean, do you really see the hype or believe the hype in it?
If you believe in capitalism and consumerism, yes, I believe the hype. And if you really do need something, I bought a bed on Black Friday like 2 years ago.
Mm.
It was like 50% off. I'm not mad at that, right?
Yeah.
Something that helped me. But in the long run, do you really need to go out there and spend up a whole bunch of money? Well, the next thing they're going to do is let it fall on a payday. That's when you know that Black Friday will have taken a spin. It's like, if I could be the third Thursday, let's just move it up 1 week.
I feel you. Chris, what about you? Have you taken advantage of any Black Friday shopping, or do you like all the deals? Is it really worth going all through that craziness out there?
To be quite honest, absolutely not. I have a computer. It's called Cyber Monday. Stay home, in my drawers, go to bestbuy.com. You understand? Save money that way. Listen, too much stress. You see World Star, people fight over laptops and TVs, and I don't have that kind of time. Also, go to the clearance section.
There you go.
Go to clearance, same deals. Let's be honest. Save some money. There you go, baby.
All right. I feel you. All right. Well, speaking of Black Friday, actually this year after Thanksgiving, we had a little bit of some sports action on Black Friday, unlike we usually have had before. Pretending to the golf world, actually, we had Tiger Woods going one-on-one with Phil Mickelson for a $9 million winner-take-all prize, which was kind of interesting. Now, Phil Mickelson actually did come on top with that matchup, so that was kind of cool. So it got me thinking, was there any other sports that this could happen where you guys would like to see somebody a couple guys go one-on-one for $9 or $10 million? And maybe in the NBA, how about we see LeBron going one-on-one with Kevin Durant, first one at 21 or 30 wins the game. I mean, Chris, is there any other athletes or sports that you think this would be kind of cool to see?
Now, unfortunately, you can't do it in football. It's a team sport, unfortunately. Mm. Hockey, same thing. Mm. Baseball, same thing. Mm. So basketball is the only sport you can do it where you have two individuals going head-to-head. Durant, LeBron, obviously. You want to do Kobe. You want to do Jordan. But pretty much, what else do you have out there? Think about it. I mean, you want to go Harden and Westbrook? That'd be kind of fun. You want to go Westbrook and Durant? That would be fun. You want to go Curry? Yeah, you want to go Curry and Klay Thompson? Think about that. Two great shooters. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much the only option you have when it's those kind of, two heavyweights going to the fields.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Obed, I mean, have you given this any thought? Like, what do you think? Or what kind of matchup would you like to see?
I mean, we've seen things like this happen many times, right? This happens in boxing all the time, right? You want to see Golovkin against whoever, Cortez, I don't know. When we saw Manny Pacquiao finally fight Floyd Mayweather, right? Like somebody put that proposition bet out there. Like, I wonder what happened if these two fought. So, it'd be interesting. I would love to see Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump. I'd love to see that one. I'm sure it was like fighting celebrity deathmatch show off of MTV. I'm sure they've already had these one-on-ones before. But I would love to see like generational teams. play against each other. We will never really see that, right? But I would love to see what the Niners would look like against the Rams this year, right? Like that, I feel like that's right.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, yeah, it makes sense. That makes sense. So, being that we touched on some basketball really quick there, I kind of want to go into the NBA a little bit. Some kind of off color, awkward news kind of broke this week involving Dwight Howard. He was kind of some of his personal life kind of came into light this week.
Beyond.
Needless to say, we're not going to go into specifics or anything, but as we all know, some from his partner kind of outed him. I guess if you want to say it.
Friends, lovers and friends. Who knows, right?
Yeah, who knows? We're not here to judge, not here to comment. But I just really want to ask you guys, how do you think that this is going to affect him in the locker room with his teammates in the Washington Wizards? I mean, do you think they're going to shy away from him? Do you think they're going to separate from him? Because we all know that certain things that come out about certain individuals can kind of divide a team. So, Obed, I'll go to you first. I mean, do you think it's going to affect him and the Wizards at all?
I could see that being a problem if he's making the kind of comments and the gestures and the mannerisms that people are saying he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It definitely has odes of he's trying to be the funny guy about it, but it's kind of like his mask. And then there's parts of it where it's probably not funny, right?
Right.
So I just the comment he made to Bradley Beal, if you have not seen it, you need to see it. I'm not calling it must-see TV, but you would think that this was like an Aaron Magruder television show with the kind of stuff that this cat was saying in the locker room and to people like at certain venues. But I mean, it's not good. If he hasn't taken a sabbatical away from the team or hasn't taken his time to leave or been released already, I can't see it not coming. Like how do you, if they're very open and accepting and they're just like, okay, we can move forward from this, fine. But it just seems like he might need to go take some time for himself.
Got you. Chris, I mean, do you think it's going to cause any turmoil with his teammates, and is it going to affect him being there in Washington any longer or anything like that?
In my personal opinion, I think Dwight Howard's days are dwindling before this whole scandal. Basketball changed to a small sport. Mm-hmm. Big men are kind of non-existent, unfortunately. He's taking three-pointers now. So injury history, he bounced around from the Lakers to the Rockets. Now he's in the Wizards. Orlando, he is not what he used to be. So what he's doing in his own bedroom is his own business. Personally, the man is 32 years old, been in the league for 15 years, no championships, a handful of all-stars. So I don't think what he's doing off the court is going to really affect what's happening on the court or in the locker room. There's been there has been people that have been accused of doing different things that were, not what heterosexual. Collins came out, no big deal. Football players came out, no big deal. I think we're kind of past that stage where we point fingers and go, ooh, look at him.
Right.
I mean, I think now it's more like, what are you doing on the court? What are you doing on the field? I mean, off topic, but look at R. Kelly. The man makes great music. He did what he did on different scales, and he's still making records. You understand? So I don't think what he did off the court is going to really affect the Wizards on the court, personally speaking.
Got you.
Okay. Absolutely. I just wanted to cut in that.
Yeah.
I would agree. I think you hear more about the things off the court when perhaps the focus is not where it should be, right? Maybe he's not there. And it hasn't been for some time. Like you said, 15 years in the league, nothing really to show for it, an opportunity to bounce around, but never really took his opportunity seriously. Well, maybe the lack of focus there has made the sideshow the bigger main attraction.
Right.
Possibly.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Another topic I wanted to kind of talk about is about the 76ers point guard and the former number 1 overall pick, Markelle Fultz, who has been kind of missing in action quite a bit this year. He's still out with the team. He's getting that shoulder looked at further. Now, there's been rumors that some people are saying that the 76ers look to trade Fultz. He's not living up to what he expected. They have Ben Simmons who can lead the point. They've got Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid, so they kind of have their big three. Now, I still don't think they have enough to overtake the Raptors, to overtake the Celtics in the East. But, Chris, I'll go back to you again here. I mean, Do you think Fultz is just kind of just lingering with his shoulder injury? It's bound to they're get rid of him, or do you think he's still a good fit? I mean, I don't know. I mean, what do you got to say about his situation there in Philly?
Personally, I think it's all mental. If this kid is 20 years old, okay, played basketball for the first 10 years of his life, all of a sudden his shot is just lost. Remember the 90s, Chuck Knobloch couldn't throw a baseball? It was all mental. So I think if you trade Markelle Fultz, let's say to Atlanta or to Brooklyn or to Sacramento, to a rebuilding team, new surrounding, Butler is going to chew him up once he goes on that basketball court. That guy is hard-nosed. We all know that.
Right.
I think new surroundings, new teammates, he will love basketball again. I think he will get his shot back again, get more confidence in his game. But as of right now on that team, it's a cancer. He has to go, in my personal opinion.
Gotcha. Obed, any insight here? What do you think they should do, the Sixers?
I mean, I feel like, it's I would agree with Chris. It's time for a fresh start for this kid. If it's not working out, the team seems to be going in another direction. Maybe everybody trusted the process, but this individual is not the fitting piece. Considering what Jimmy Butler brings for this offense and for this team, I think maybe it's time for him to move on.
Gotcha. You know what's weird? I want to just touch on. I mean, he played sporadically this season. He had a couple good games, but I really don't feel like they really truly need him here.
No, they don't.
I mean, they're still playing well. Without him. So, how much better is he going to make the Sixers at this point? So I think you do look to trade him, get some draft picks, maybe get a couple of other younger guys, and then you kind of just move on from there. But moving along with the NBA, I saw, I don't know if you guys noticed the latest rankings, but in the Western Conference, the LA Clippers are actually on top.
Insane.
Which is, I mean, I don't know if anyone, but they're actually percentage-wise ahead of the Warriors. Now, Obed, do you think the Clippers can last and still compete in the West? They don't have Blake Griffin anymore. They don't have Chris Paul anymore. They don't have DeAndre Jordan anymore. I mean, is it just they're just playing well at this point in the year, just kind of coincidence, or what? Do you think that they can actually be a legit contender in the West?
I actually don't think they can be. I mean, it depends on what the West is going to look like, right? Obviously, LeBron is disappearing out there with the Lakers for the time being. It's still very early in the season, but I don't really think that we can look at a team like the Warriors and think, okay, they're not going to get their act together and figure things out. Right? This team built to win. They will deal with all this stuff once everybody gets healthy and everybody's back on the court, and you get that camaraderie back. But okay, the Clippers are on a heater right now. See how far this takes.
Right. And Chris, it's funny because I was looking at the standings as well. In Houston, they're actually they're 9-10, so they're a game under 500. They're, I think, 10th in the Western Conference. What's up with Houston? Can they get it together? Obviously, Carmelo's not going to be with the team anymore, whatever. But I mean, what's going on with the Rockets, and can they get it together? Can they get it fixed real soon?
At the end of the day, the Rockets play no defense. And unfortunately, I'm an offensive-minded guy. But defense wins championships, okay? Golden State scores 120 a night, but they'll shut you down in the crucial moments of the game, unfortunately. The Rockets don't play that kind of basketball.
Right.
At the end of the game, they're not going to win. And back to kind of piggyback what Abed said, as far as the Clippers, they play defense, but their offense is not going to outlast, let's say, the Golden States of the world, even the OKCs of the world, even Houston of the world. So Houston Rockets right now, they're going to get things figured out. I think it takes a little time. Chris Paul's been on and off the court. So is James Harden on and off the court. So once they get together, they gel, they'll be fine. Also, think about it. They lost Trevor Ariza this offseason. He played defense. He lost.
Absolutely.
It takes time to plug those players in. Carmelo was there for 2 weeks? He plays zero defense, Carmelo Anthony. You understand?
Facts.
The truth, though, yeah. So, again, I don't like defense personally speaking, but at the end of the day, you win championships built on that. And right now, the Rockets, they're not going to go far as their defense takes them, honestly.
Right. Speaking of teams, in the West, Obed mentioned the Lakers before. Before last night, the Lakers actually lost by 32 to the Nuggets, 117-85. LeBron had a season low, only 14 points, and I think he was 0 for 5 from outside the paint. Now, aside from last night's game against the Nuggets, LeBron has been the LeBron of old, taking over the games. He's realizing, though, he can't be that passive LeBron that he sometimes tends to be. He realizes that with this young core, especially with Rondo being out, he needs to kind of take over. Do you think, Obed, that the Lakers can really get it together and make a true playoff push, or they're going to have ups and downs throughout the year? Do you think they're actually going to figure it out?
I think that they have a chance to figure it out. As far as LeBron and his decision to turn into that, what you explained sounds like playoff LeBron to me, right? And we've always seen the big hitter at some point in their career rest a little bit more and come out and be that playoff person that we need, right? And in his case, can he give us another season like the last I think 2 seasons he had with the Cavaliers? He really had to start turning this on. He had to play a lot more minutes than you think somebody at his age would. I wouldn't expect him to play as much as he is now, but I feel like he's still out here, has a little pep in his step. Can he sustain?
Yeah.
Hopefully he doesn't get the injury bug, right? Like you're asking for a lot of work out of a guy who I don't know if he was brought here to do that much work until when it really counted, if you guys even get there.
Right, and it's Chris, sorry to interrupt there, Chris, for a second. I don't know if you guys, as Obed just mentioned, the Cavaliers. I don't know if you guys saw it just a little within the last couple hours. It was announced on ESPN that the Cavaliers have actually traded Kyle Korver to the Utah Jazz for a guard Alec Burke and 2 conditional conditional draft picks later on. Without LeBron, obviously the Cavaliers have sunken down to one of the bottom teams in the Eastern Conference. They're trying to shop J.R. Smith as well, who's unhappy there with them too. Chris, we talked about LeBron. Of course, we can always talk about the Lakers as much as we want, but kind of going back to the Cavs and even with the Eastern Conference, we're going to say Cavs are probably not a contender at this point, and may not ever be again without any superstar.
They're not going to happen.
I wonder why Love took that contract, right? He's like, hey, you need some money. All right.
Right. So that was going to be my
$20 million too. Why not? Yeah,
right. So that was going to be my question to you, Chris. Did Kevin Love, you think, make the right decision by staying with the Cavaliers, and was it based upon him thinking that LeBron would be around, and they could attract other free agents to that team? Do you think that they could actually, a year or 2 years from now, get to that high level of team that they used to be?
Absolutely not. There's 0 chance right now. There's not even a slither of a hope that they're going to be near the Boston Celtics, near Toronto, near Milwaukee, not even near the Wizards right now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You have to ask Kevin Love what's more important. He has that 1 championship. Okay, done.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Now he has in his pocket $120 million plus more than that. Does he chase another ring? Is he going to just make more money in his pocket? At the end of the day, the Cavs are going to go nowhere. They have to do a complete overhaul. Like you said, get rid of J.R. Smith. You want to trade Clarkson. You understand? You want to trade
Clarkson.
Rodney Hood. Complete overhaul. I think it starts from the top down. Yeah. LeBron James is not coming back to Cleveland, clearly.
Right. Revenge
Cavs, start from scratch, tear it down. Done. That's it.
Gotcha.
I'm going to throw a little bit of a clever ruse on here. Apparently, there was a reporter talking to LeBron and asking what it would be like if he got to play with his son. And he was just like, that would be great if I got to be on the court with my son. He was like, at the rate he's going, it would only be 5 or 6 more years.
Right. Think about it.
The torch of the Lakers to his son and around the team.
Yo, that would be insane. But now LeBron is what, 33 or 32?
34, yeah.
I think he's 33. Let's just say he's 33. Can he last another 5 to 6 years, Obed, do you think, in the NBA?
In this iteration of LeBron, expecting playoff LeBron this early in the season, we haven't even hit the All-Star break?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't know where. For me, it's like, and I'll use another analogy. This person doesn't have to go to the glue factory immediately, right? We can put this person out to stud. Is there going to be some studding left when he's 37, 38? And these guys who are, in their rookies are hitting in their rookie years and their youthful years are hitting their prime and hitting their stride.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be able to run with them. But the way that the NBA is going right now, like Chris said, he's offensive minded guy. Offense seems to be a thing that people love these days.
Yeah.
Tally up them points. We're going to be something I always remember was if you had Steve Nash as a point guard, you were going to give up 130 points, but you might win 132.
By 2 points, 131 to 130, exactly. Yeah. Now, to jump back in your back about what you were saying about LeBron lasting for the next 4 or 5 more years, that's a double-edged sword question because, A, if he has the same team he has right now, he'll die and burn out in the next 2 years. But if they can get, let's pretend, a Kawhi Leonard, for instance, or Anthony Davis, for instance, next offseason to take a load off of LeBron's shoulders, then he can last 4 or 5 more years. If Magic Johnson does no trades, same, you still have Kuzma and, Lonzo Ball, he'll die in 3 years. His legs will just burn out. He'll be exhausted. He can't do it all. The man needs help, so he cannot make it 3 or 4 more years at this high level. Absolutely not. With help, I said LeBron can do it. I think LeBron can do it with help.
Yeah.
That's a double-edged sword question.
Yeah, if anyone can do it, it's definitely going to be LeBron. With his athleticism, he just can't compete with that. So moving along, and kind of want to switch gears here and move along to some college football news in action. So going into championship week this year, the college football playoff rankings came out last night. So obviously, of course, staying at the top was Alabama as at number 1. They've been number 1 all season long. Clemson at 2, Notre Dame at 3, Georgia at 4, and we have number 5 Oklahoma Sooners, followed by the number 6 Ohio State Buckeyes. So obviously, like I said, championship week is this weekend. Alabama will be taking on number 4 Georgia this week. Now, Obed, I'll go to you first. Do you think, 1, Georgia has even a shot? And 2, can Alabama be stopped? Alabama has scored over 21 points in every single game this year. Has beaten teams by more than 21 points by this year. Excuse me. But do you think Georgia even has a shot with this weekend?
I don't know if anybody has a shot against Alabama unless Tua's leg gives out, right? It's like seeing the not even all-star starting 5 Warriors warm up, right? Like, what do you do? Right? What do you think is about to go on right now? Is it going to be a shootout potentially? Could you take this to the wire? Auburn played Alabama pretty well for 3 quarters, 2.5 quarters.
Yeah,
you can hang with them, but I don't see anybody having anything.
Right. Chris, do you think this could be a possible upset? As you know, Alabama is they're running through people this year.
Clearly. So what I've noticed about this, Alabama squad is that they are hitting on all cylinders, offensively, defensively, special teams, coaching from top to bottom. As of right now, I don't see that Georgia is going to even. They'll give them competition for the first half. Second half, they're going to pull away. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah,
they'll be close to first and then pull away. My personal opinion.
Gotcha. Number 2, Clemson, and going against Pitt in the ACC championship game. I think we all can say Clemson will surely win that one. They're locked in. They'll be locked into the college football playoff. Number 3, Notre Dame is idle with no conference championship, so they're going to be in. So I kind of want to real quick go back to Bama, Georgia. Let's say obviously if Bama wins, they're in. They're the number 1 team. So if Georgia loses, they drop out of the top 4. Then you have Oklahoma going against number 14 Texas in the Big 12 championship. And then you have number 6 Ohio State going against number 21 Northwestern in the Big 10 championship. So, Ben, my question to you is, if Alabama wins, Georgia's gone. But if Oklahoma and Ohio State both win their conference championship, who gets in at that 4th spot? Would it be Oklahoma, or would Ohio State jump Oklahoma?
Ohio State has looked so shaky. That I don't know if they would deserve to get that leapfrog, but I feel like they will.
Yeah.
It just seems the way that things tend to trend for them at the time of the year. Whether they can actually, justify that movement by the committee, I don't know. But I feel like you're going to see Ohio State up there.
Okay. Chris, are you siding with Obed on this one too? I personally am. So what do you, if Georgia loses, who jumps into that 4th spot if Oklahoma and Ohio State both win?
Personally, I'm going to go with Alabama.
Well, yeah. No. Well, Alabama. We know Alabama win. I'm saying if Georgia loses to Alabama, if Georgia loses to Alabama, who's out of Oklahoma, Ohio State? Who do you think will get into that fourth spot?
Personally, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Now they don't play that much of defense. I noticed that. Their defense is kind of shaky sometimes, but their offense is so potentially, explosive. It'll overtake the bad defense. Personally, that's my personal opinion. Yeah.
I mean, with Kyler Murray leading the way, he's definitely a great quarterback, and obviously we all know he's going to be playing baseball. He's already been drafted by MLB. So
exactly. And it's college football too. So these games be 56-52. So offense is offensive driven. Defense sometimes in college does not win championships. Unfortunately, it's always offensive driven.
Right.
That's how it goes.
I'll say this. When they cut in. So that Texas-Oklahoma game is at 12 o'clock on Saturday.
Okay.
Ohio State plays a primetime game at 8 p.m. Right. So if it depends on how they're going to come out. Are they going to come out and put on a show? Or are they going to come out and look flat? You know what I mean? I think that might play into it.
Gotcha. Now, really quick, Obed, just real quick before we move on from college football. Now, let me ask you this. If Georgia wins, they somehow beat Alabama, do you think Alabama can still get in like last year, or do you think that they get jumped?
I think they get jumped.
Really?
You think they jumped?
You can't lose this late.
Really?
I think they might get in, personally.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, I'm with you. I mean, honestly, even if Alabama somehow loses to Georgia, let's say Clemson jumps to number 1. Notre Dame maybe jumps to number 2, and let's say Georgia's in there. I still think you give Alabama the edge, even though they lose a game. I mean, look, it happened last year. I still think Alabama is the best team in the country. I mean, think about it. Ohio State has one loss. They lost to Purdue. Now let's say they didn't lose. Let's say they were losing. Let's say they lose to a Purdue in the Big Ten championship game. Let's say they're playing Purdue. Do you think Purdue would be a better team than Ohio State?
I don't think so.
No, exactly. So you would still put Ohio State in the game. So that's what I'm saying is even if Georgia somehow pulls this upset off and beats Alabama, I still think Alabama is the most complete team, and they're the best team in the nation. So even if they lose, you still put them in, whether it's at the 3 seed or even at the 4 spot. You still put Alabama in.
They're in by default, guys. They're in by default. Personally, they're in by default. You wouldn't lose. They're in by default.
That's what I really do think.
If that actually happened, I would love to see what the quality of that win looked like. Right? Like, did they just fall apart? Like, what did you take them to a nail biter, or did you just go out there and pummel Alabama?
Right. Now, if Alabama loses by 55, that's a different story. Of them losing.
If they get smoked, right? Exactly.
Yeah. No, if they lose by 5.
Hey, this is how much I lost today.
Yeah, I mean, different thing. All right, guys. So sticking with football, let's move on to the NFL. Some tragic news or some tragic event actually happened recently with the Redskins quarterback Alex Smith going against the Houston Texans. Got taken down, suffered a horrific right leg injury. He had a compound fracture, broke his right tibia and fibula. The crazy thing about it, and obviously we all know Alex, he's done for the year. He's out at least probably 8 months or so for rehab and recovery and surgery. He had surgery immediately after the game. The crazy thing about it, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, when that happened the Sunday prior, it was 33 years to the day that it happened to former Redskins quarterback Joe Theismann.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Joe Theismann was 35 years old when it happened. Alex Smith was 34 years old, and it was 33 years to the day. And guess what? Joe Theismann was in the arena when it happened. What are the chances of that actually happening?
Money like that, guys. Jesus,
me, Ricky Bobby.
What'd you say?
That evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
Oh,
I mean, what? I just couldn't believe it when I saw it. There was 33 years to the day. Do you think Obed, do you think he can actually recover from this? I think he may be done for his career.
I think they had a doctor on Yahoo's Fantasy Sports Show talking about that there was a lot of his leg was under a lot of torsion, a lot of torque when it broke. That's why they call it like a spiral fracture.
Right.
Spiral compound fracture. The compound means that a bone came out of the skin.
Right.
I don't know if he's coming back to be the mobile Alex Smith. How many pins and needles are you going to have in this leg of yours? Mm-hmm. Right? It's a pretty serious injury. I don't think he's ever going to come back from this.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Chris, do you think even if he can come back, do you think it's a good idea for him to come back?
No, I think I'm going to disagree, unfortunately. I think because of the way he plays football, he's a dink and dunk kind of passer. Mm-hmm. He has a big arm. He's going to beat you mentally. Now, Alex Smith is not a great quarterback, granted, but he's not the super Michael Vick agile kind of player or the big arm like, let's say a Brett Favre kind of player. Not like that. He'll toss the ball 5 yards. So I think that over time with rehabilitation, he might come back. I was reading reports, though, that he might just say, I'm going to done and retire. Mm-hmm. That's what I've been reading personally. But in my opinion, I think he's going to come back probably 2020 at full strength, give it a go. Listen, Peyton Manning came back with a fractured neck and his spine was all jacked up. You understand? And right. Peyton Manning had no arm. Peyton Manning could never run the ball. He couldn't pass the ball 20 yards. Mm-hmm. Neither could Alex Smith now, healthy. So if Peyton Manning could do it, I think Alex Smith could do it personally.
Okay. Other quarterback news, with the Bengals quarterback Andy Dalton was recently placed on IR with a right thumb injury. I don't know if it was the severity of the injury that put him on ER or the Bengals just saying, you know what, screw it, we're done for the year. And you know what, with that being said, I think Marvin Lewis is out of a job at the end of this year. They believe in Marvin Lewis so much. The guy hasn't won a single playoff game in 15 or 13 years. 13 years, whatever it is. How does this man have a job still? And everyone's going to hate on it because he was a defensive-minded guy coming from the Ravens and things. But I don't get it. Chris, please explain to me, if the Bengals do not get rid of Marvin Lewis, how is it possible? I mean, how is it possible he can really recover and really bring this Bengals team around next season?
Put yourself in Marvin Lewis' shoes, right? You have a guaranteed job of 15 years. You've done nothing productive. You have no victories. You have not given the city of Cincinnati any kind of hope that you're going to be a contending franchise. I think with this injury, Dalton is a B-plus player at best, B-plus. The Bengals were playing decent football before this injury, of course. Marvin Lewis should be gone. I don't think he's going to get fired personally. I think he'll still be there in 5 years. I think he'll leave on his own terms. I don't think the organization will ever fire that man for what he's done for the previous history. But with Dalton's history of this injury, obviously, and the city just, trying to get behind them, I think he's going Marvin Lewis, but he's not going to leave personally. I don't think he's going to go. You can't have a job for 15 years and be – you can't have that. You're going to get fired eventually, dude. Like, eventually you're going to get fired.
Oh, Ben, let me go to you. What's your kind of take on this situation in Cincinnati?
Cincinnati, it's funny. We're on to Cincinnati.
We're on to Cincinnati.
It's funny because I feel like the Bengals are Cincinnati's Washington Redskins. Right?
Yeah.
Doesn't look like they know what they're doing. They kind of give you the same bare minimum fall off at the end. Some exciting years, no playoff wins.
Right. That mediocre, middle of the road team.
You win 9 games, 8 games, 10 games. That's it. That's what you do. Yeah.
You do. And you're happy with that because it puts people in the fan. People are excited about the team. Right. You're never embarrassed except for those games where you only score 9 points against the Browns. But you're never, which is a conversation for your division.
Right.
You watch them in the same division with the Steelers. The Steelers always get the Browns first game of the season. Give them a 1 jump up lead in the division to get them started for the year, make them feel good. The Ravens get a lot of favorable calls and play a lot of stupid football, but are still floating around there at the bottom of the AFC. Sometimes they're the playoffs, and even in the Super Bowl, if they could get their act together long enough on offense. I think the Bengals have an issue with running into the buzzsaws of all the dynasties that the AFC has seen over the years. Now we've got some fresh blood out here with KC. Looking at the Bengals, I don't think they'll be getting rid of Marvin Lewis. I think they'll give him a chance to walk in his own terms. But it does look like they're packing in on the season, right? I don't even know why A.J. Green would come back after being gone for 3 games.
Right,
Where's the injury? Yeah,
there's no need. There's no need.
Jeff Driscoll going to start dropping dimes out here? I don't think so.
Not at all. Not at all. Speaking of even more quarterback news, the Jaguars have recently decided to bench quarterback Blake Bowles in favor of backup Cody Kessler. They also fired their offensive coordinator. And also this week, their running back Leonard Fournette has been suspended for one game for the fight he started with the Buffalo Bills.
Dummy.
Yeah, that was being fired. He actually came off. He wasn't even involved in the play. He came off the sideline and went on the field.
In the spine. Yeah, what are you doing, dude?
This dude think he out on the street throwing blows like bong bong 1-2. Like, dude, what are you doing? You know what I mean? So, Chris, I mean, the Jaguars have any chance? I mean, I think benching Bortles pretty much says they're packing it in.
Of course.
Do you think they move on from Bortles after this year?
Well, a couple of points. Number one, for fantasy owners, play Yeldon. He's going to get a lot of burn. So play Yeldon on all your fantasy league. Yeah. That's number one.
Oh, don't look out for Carlos Hyde. Don't forget Carlos Hyde.
Carlos Hyde, he hasn't been doing much right now. They traded him, which is a retarded trade. But again, Yeldon took some points this week. But back to your original question, the Jaguars, in my opinion, they gave the Patriots the run to the AFC Championship game. And look at them now. Look how they fell from grace. This guy, the cornerback Ramsey, has been talking smack all year long. He cannot back it up. They're getting smoked on the defensive end of the ball. Blake Bortles, you cannot trust that guy with the ball. Defense, again, wins championships, but if you can't get the ball down the field 5 yards, you're not going to win. They need to revamp that offense to make it a little more, not pass-heavy, but a little more quarterback-friendly. That's going to develop Yeldon and let Fournette run, and obviously Carlos Hyde, because obviously Blake Bortles is not the answer. He's not the answer. I mean, you got to get rid of that guy. Yeah. You're better off with Ryan Tannehill, personally.
Yeah, I mean, they gave Bortles an extension. Obed, do you think that they can really stick with him, or do you think they'll just move on?
Well, it's my understanding that contract does give them a bit of an out, some space, so they can make some moves and get rid of him, maybe dump him. Kind of like the same contract I believe that Jerick McKinnon signed with the Niners. It was a big money contract, but it gives them language that they can part ways with him very, very easily should they need to. That being said, Bortles is not that guy. Ryan Tannehill as a game manager probably would be a lot better on this team. But what happened to those wide receivers? I thought Keelan Cole was going to be a star in this league. I thought Dede Westbrook was going to be a star in this league. I thought DJ Chark was going to be a star in this league.
They should have never let Allen Robinson go to Chicago. They should have never let Allen Robinson go.
Looking at what Allen Robinson's been able to do with the Bears, I do think it was a bad decision to let him go. It's what you expect from him. Obviously, they had a revolving door wide receiver, but I think that makes you more deadly when a bunch of guys can come off the bench at that position and burn you versus running back. Right, like you have to be a special kind of offense, like the Saints, to be able to handle having one between the tackles and one plug and play with the guy who can go to the outside as well. And it's hard to do, right? I think at the wide receiver position, you would look like Aaron Rodgers' wide receiver core of old, right? Like he could go to James Jones, you go to Donald Driver, you go to give me a young Jordy Nelson, my God.
Yeah, right?
A young Randall Cobb, right? Like he had all these guys around him. And then Richard Rodgers sometimes, anybody could light you up, so the ball can just be dispersed anywhere. But you got to have a quarterback that has faith in his throws, and I don't think Blake Bortles is that guy.
Makes sense. Yeah, I got you. I got you, Obed. That makes sense. So, Obed, you wanted to kind of talk on a couple different things here. Really want to introduce a new little segment to our show this week. Feel free to have at it, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. All right, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I have been called a hater. It's happened. I have very strong views about players that I think are great and very strong views about players who I think are in great situations. And so I thought I would bring this discussion to you, and we could collaborate together and say, hey, do we believe that we hate the player or that we hate the game? So the idea here is that you have to look at a player. You can grab whatever stats you want, and you can have whatever biases you have, and you tell me whether you hate the player because they're that good or you hate the game because the game's making him look good. So our first up, Mr. Adam Thielen. On the year, Adam Thielen has a number of 1,138 yards off of 126 passes. He's got a 74% catch rate. He's got 8 touchdowns, 1 fumble, and he has definitely outplayed whatever contract they signed to him that I thought he was very underpaid for. That being said, knowing that he's the outside guy, but Minnesota chooses to play him in the slot,
Right.
right? In the slot, you play against probably weaker competition at the defensive side, maybe a third cornerback, maybe a safety. He's lined up and has a very favorable matchup, and they take advantage of that matchup. A lot of his routes go to the outside, not as much as they go to the inside. Big cross routes that get him going to the out route on the opposite side of the field. Is Adam Thielen going to be one of these upper echelon wide receivers of our day-to-day? Because right now, as we sit at week 12, he has 1,138 yards. Are we talking about 100 yards per game, one opportunity for a touchdown? This guy's going to play 5 more games. Maybe he sits the last game 4 more games. Mm-hmm. He's going to put 400 more yards on this. We're talking about a 1,500, 1,600 yard receiver. I think that 1,600 yards is a very high mark for a wide receiver to hit. And at his pace, maybe he'll tack on another 4 touchdowns of that, 12 touchdowns, 1,400 yards, 1,600 yards. I don't know if Adam Thielen is that good. They have a 24-year-old Stephon Diggs that they play out of his position. He's young and spry. He can hang out on the outside until he should take his rightful space in the slot where he should have been from the get-go. But I don't know. I will say in this position, I think Adam Thielen is a great player. I just don't know if he is that guy. He's talking about Julio Jones numbers. I feel like
Adam Thielen. This guy could be a 1,600-yard wide receiver. He might have 12 touchdowns. Do we hate the player because he's so good, or do we hate the game because the game is making it better for him? Chris, what do you think?
I hate the game. I don't think that he's going to be a top-notch receiver for too much longer, personally. I think Stephon Diggs is going to want more run, which is going to limit his opportunity to do more damage. He's putting up right now Randy Moss numbers right now, okay? So I don't see that in the future for the next 2 to 3 to 10 years. I don't personally see it.
Yeah, well, I agree. He's trying to do a young Randy Moss out there. I understand how the Minnesota folk got to roll, but I don't know. Sherman, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go with Chris, hate the game here. I mean, Adam Thielen, he's a great route runner. He has good hands. But put him in a situation where he is the guy, the number 1 receiver, like put him on like a Jacksonville or, where they need a number 1 receiver or something like that. I don't think he puts up the same numbers. So I think he's a product of that system, that situation he's in.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think they like what he gives them. He provides them with a spark. He makes big plays for them. But down the line, I don't know if he's got it. He's dealing with the calf injury right now. He's dealing with the back injury. I think one of the things that their team has really faulted themselves with is allowing Kirk Cousins to just target this one guy over and over and over again. You got to be able to spread the ball around. What happened to Kyle Rudolph? What happened to Laquan Treadwell? Aldrick Robinson won some games for you. You've got other options here. It's hard to make a 13-3 team better, but hopefully Kirk can do that with these weapons. All right, so next up on Hate the Player, Hate the Game, Tyreek the Freak. Now, I don't know what more can be said about this gentleman. He is fantastic. He's an absolute lightning rod. He's currently sitting at 1,106 yards, 11 touchdowns. This guy has caught all of this on 94 passes. He doesn't drop the ball, 69% catch rate. The man is there for. He's got steady hands, and he makes big splash plays all the time. I was skeptical of the Tyreek Hill experiment last year when he first popped off. I didn't really think that this was sustainable or like this was the real deal with Alex Smith. So they slot Patrick Mahomes in here, and I think the kid just got even more deadlier than he was. I think the play for me that did it the most was when Kareem Hunt fell down on a go route to the corner when they were playing the Patriots. He fell down on the route. Tyreek the Freak came back all the way around and made the play for the touchdown out of nowhere. Like, that is just heads-up awareness. That's skill. That's all the things. I hate the player on this one. Chris, what do you think?
I think Tyreek Hill is going to be a major offensive weapon now with Mahomes back there. Like you said, they have Hunt, and then you still have Kelsey over there. You still have this guy Watkins over there. So I think with all those offensive weapons, he's putting up 40 points a game on KC. So I think he's the real deal. I think you put him, let's say, on an Oakland Raiders team, for instance. He gets behind that safety, he's gone. Okay? Yeah. You put him on any bad team, he's going to beat you. Unlike Adam Thielen, he's not going to beat you by himself on a bad team. I think Tyreek Hill has the potential to do it. He's been in the league only for 2 years and put up monster numbers. He's the real deal. He's the real deal.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Chris. I'm gonna say hate the player on this one here. I mean, he's probably one of the fastest guys, if not the fastest guy in the NFL. When he turns those burners on, deuces. You know what I mean? Some call us the Forrest Gump. You know, he's out. You know what I'm saying? You know, he puts on his afterburners and it's a wrap. So I'm gonna say hate the player on this one. You know, he's got good hands. You know, he gets to get those deep balls at any time. So I'm gonna say hate the player on this one.
All right, I agree. I think the kid's got some spunk. Now, you know, another skill position set. Looking at the running backs, James Conner. You know, going into the season, no one really thought what they were going to get out of this kid, knowing that at some point we would see Le'Veon Bell. But Le'Veon Bell went full milk carton. He is out of the picture, probably waiting to cash them checks for whoever else he's going to be with. Heavy on Bell has been enjoying himself in South Beach. Hopefully he's back in shape. You know, personally, I think James Conner's done some great things, but looking at what they're getting from Juju Smith-Schuster, looking at what they're getting from Antonio Brown, look at what they're getting from Vance McDonald, I don't know if they need that kid to be the stalwart player. They slid Jalen Samuels in for a couple of plays. He didn't look bad. I don't know. The jury for me is out. You can't, you know, I understand it's a respect thing for the Steelers to be like, oh, we don't need Le'Veon anymore, but we're talking about Le'Veon Bell here, right? Le'Veon Bell is an absolute stud, right? So, you know, as much as I like what James Conner brings, I think I'm going to hate the game on this one. I think they're setting him up for success, and we'll see if he can make that a consistent thing going into next year. Sherman, what do you think? You hate the player on this one? You hate the game? What do you like?
I'm gonna say hate the game. I think he's a product of the system. I think you put Conner, you know, in a worse situation like San Francisco or like in Arizona. I don't think he's doing the same thing. I think he really is a product of the Steelers himself. You know, head coach Mike Tomlin, good offensive line. Obviously, you have a Hall of Famer, Brandon Roethlisberger. You got Antonio Brown on the outside. I think he's really just a product of the system here. So I don't think he will. I mean, like I said, I think he'll be keep putting up numbers while he's in Pittsburgh. But let's say he leaves in free agency 3 years from now or 4 years from now. I don't think he will be the same player.
Yeah, I can see that. Chris?
Now, Sherman, I have to agree with you honestly as well too. If you're playing defense against the Pittsburgh Steelers, are you going to game plan for James Conner or Antonio Brown or Juju? You understand? Even Big Ben, who are you really going to game plan for? Like Sherman said, he's a product of the system, good offensive line. I think if you put him on, let's say, the Jets, you understand? Yeah. He's not going to get production, I guarantee you. You put Buffalo Bills, you put him on Arizona, you put him on San Fran, Oakland. He's not that kind of game breaker running back. He's not Le'Veon Bell. He's not a Todd Gurley. You understand? Oh, that was your computer. Okay. But he's not those kind of game breaker kind of player. So, yeah, product of the system.
I agree with you guys. I definitely agree with you guys. I think what we're getting from James Conner is fantastic, but they are going to either sorely be lacking him or looking for someone who can carry that spark for them. Big Ben is not the guy to be out here to put the rock in his hands, as we saw the last interception he had from last week. I don't think he's the guy to carry the load right now at this point in his career. At Christian McCaffrey, you know, a stud coming out of Stanford. I didn't think much about him playing in the Pac-12, the kind of numbers that he had. If it was going to be something he could have done if he played in the SEC. You know, he's a lightning rod right now. The kid, you know, all of the class act terms you use for a player of his caliber. You know, he's a gym rat. He's just a firecracker. Just a hard worker. You know, the kind of numbers that he's putting up with the Panthers recently has been amazing. I think saw some statistic that Cam Newton is completing better than 70% of his passes at this point. Well, his average yards per attempt is like 7.6 yards. Everything has been super condensed. And the kind of quarterback that you deal with, a mobile quarterback, guy who's probably not too accurate, has very much leverages his athleticism, but you don't really like your quarterback taking that many hits. I feel like they just recently got rid of C.J. Anderson. You know, I think they feel like, hey, what we're getting out of Christian McCaffrey is fine. We'll figure out the rest with maybe a rookie, or I think Whitaker's still there as well.
Yeah.
I think Christian McCaffrey is good, but they are pumping him with a lot. He had 250 all-purpose yards, like 2 touchdowns this last game. If that doesn't scream overproduction, I don't know what does. Personally, I feel like the game is set up for him in that offense to be very productive because he is the funnel. He is where everything is going right now. How long can he do that for? How long can he take that wear and tear?
Yeah.
I think I hate the game more on this one than I do the player.
Chris, if you don't mind, let me jump in here. I'm going to say I hate the player on this one. Man, this guy, I think he's the real deal, Holyfield, dude. I mean, he like I said, he can run the football. He had 100 plus yards rushing, 100 plus yards receiving. He can catch passes out of the backfield. He's almost like a small Le'Veon Bell.
Okay, I can see that.
Okay, he's a dual threat running back.
Yeah.
He runs great routes.
Yeah.
He can help pass block.
Yeah.
He can pick up the blitz as well. I really do like this kid. Coming out of Stanford, when he was in college, he was on punt returns. He was special team. He can do many different things. I think he will only get better with time, especially being around a quarterback like Cam Newton.
Yeah.
I think that's going to just improve his game and better his stats overall.
Yeah.
I think defenses do have to watch out for him. Because he can line up in the slot as well too. Not only does he catch passes out of the backfield, I think once he puts on maybe about 10, 15, 20 pounds, he'll be able to hit the holes harder, especially on the goal line situations. But I really do like this kid, McCaffrey.
Okay, Chris, how about you?
Yeah, now McCaffrey, I like him. I don't think that he's a franchise kind of running back. Personally, my opinion, I think that he's more of a system kind of running back. In my opinion, there are not that many running backs in the league that you can build an offense around. Personally, there's 3 tops. McCaffrey is not that kind of guy. He's in the Alvin Kamara kind of category. I think that you put Kamara, let's say on a mediocre team, he'll still put numbers up, but he's not the focal point. There's 2 or 3 running backs in the league right now that you can build your offense around. McCaffrey's not. He's a volume producer, 100%. He'll get you, 25 touches a game with his 15 running and his 7 catching. He'll get you 20 touches a game. That's fair, but it's based on the system. Also, think of Cam Newton. Can that man stay healthy? Okay, he takes a lot of punishment, guys. A lot of punishment. He's always going out the pocket, looking for the wide receiver on the slot. That may not be there all the time, which makes McCaffrey more vulnerable as well, too. So, again, he's a stud, but he's not the focal point. He's not the main reason for the success, my personal opinion.
There we go. I think that's a good roundtable, guys. I think on all one of those players of court, I don't want to take anything away from them. These are NFL players. These guys are the cream of the crop. The very few that could make it up there and be this good. But we do see a distinction in how they get to eat at the table. So.
It makes sense. I definitely agree. Ben, appreciate the new segment this week. We'll definitely keep it going moving forward. So, just to end the show this week, guys, want to go through and pick this week's games. Let's do this kind of quick. I know we're kind of getting cut long on time here, so kind of cut it short. So let's go through each one. Tell me who you got. First game of the week is Thursday Night Football. New Orleans at Dallas. I'm gonna say the Saints. Obviously, it's a bigger game for Dallas if they can get the win. But I'm gonna say the Saints. Chris, Saints and Cowboys. Who do you got?
Very easy. It's gonna be New Orleans. They're 10-1 right now. They look best team in football. Saints all the way.
Yeah. Ben, what about you?
I'm going Saints all the way. They're coming marching in. I like what Dallas is putting together. Now the offense is a bit legitimized, but you're not getting in the way of New Orleans.
Yeah, makes sense. On the Sunday list of games, we've got the first one here we're going to look at is Baltimore at Atlanta. Lamar Jackson seems to be he'll get the starting nod again. Really quick here, Atlanta over, or I'm gonna go Atlanta over Ravens. Obed, what about you?
I'm with you, Atlanta.
Chris, Ravens and Falcons. Who you got here?
Atlanta.
Yeah. I mean, Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, we got too much for them. Broncos at Bengals. I think we kind of touched on the Bengals and gave them enough crap earlier. I think they're done. So I'm going Broncos all the way here. Chris, what do you got?
I'm going to go with a surprise pick with the Bengals. I'm going to go with the Bengals this time.
Really?
I feel they're home. I feel they're going to play inspired for the quarterback Dalton out. I'm going to go Bengals with a sleeper pick.
Wow. Obed, Broncos and Bengals. Cardinals.
Want that Driscoll season. Man, I'm going to go with Case Keenum, Philip Lindsay. I want to see some Royce Freeman because I need him in fantasy.
I feel you.
Go fantasy points, baby.
Yeah.
Also about them fantasy points. Chargers at the Lions. Now, Melvin Gordon will not be playing this week, so that could kind of hurt them. But Austin Eckler's there. I'm going Chargers. Obed, Chargers and Lions. Who you taking?
Man, I got to give it to the Chargers, man. I think it's tough sledding against the Bears, but I got faith in what Philip Rivers brings to the table. Top 5 that are alive right now.
Yeah. Chris, Chargers and Lions.
So just to kind of correct you, I think you're looking at the Rams. The Chargers play the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I apologize. Yes, you're right. You're right. It's Rams.
Rams
Oh, wow.
Right, it's okay, yeah. But the Rams are playing Detroit. Chargers are playing Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
There we
So
go.
sorry. So let's do that. Rams and Lions. Obviously, I'm gonna go Rams all the way here.
Yeah, right. I think I might be the clean sweep on this one.
Yeah. Oh, bad. Same thing, right?
Yeah. Too much firepower there, Yeah, too much firepower.
Gotcha. Cardinals at Green Bay. I don't think there's any debate here. Obed. I'm going to say Packers. Obed. What are you taking?
You know what? The thing is, they're at home, so you have to take Green Bay. But I'll be honest with you, I have no idea what's going on in Green Bay. If there's one person who gets to be called GOAT 1 year and 1 week, and then they say that the arm is gone and it's starting to be on the downslide the next week, it's Aaron Rodgers. This guy will be the first one in front of the camera to be saying, "Oh well, I don't have the receiver core. The guys aren't where I need them to be." Tom Brady has had some years where he had no receivers and he had to make some things happen. Some of those years he won a Super Bowl, right? There are people out there who have real problems on offense making things happen more than Aaron Rodgers right now, and I just don't understand what's going on. So
yeah,
I'll give it to them.
I'm 100% in agreement with you, Chris. Packers and Cardinals.
In this game, honestly, who cares? Because Green Bay, they're not making the playoffs. Arizona, they're not making the playoffs, clearly. Aaron Rodgers complains way too much to the officials. He needs help. His offensive line, his defense, his coach. He's a big crybaby personally. He has all the talent in the entire world, but he can't maximize his potential. And like you said, Brady has not had a lot of offensive firepower except for Randy Moss, obviously, but he never complains. Overall, Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback. Overall package, not career-wise, no. But, who cares? But if I had to go Green Bay, I go Green Bay.
Yeah.
Personally. Yeah.
Next game, Bills and Dolphins. Let's make this one quick. I don't know if they're going to be paying attention to this one on the bed.
Oh my God! I think they're both going to lose this game. We'll give it to. Right, I'll give it to the Bills. I give it to the Bills. The Bills are about to come out and play spirited out there.
Chris, Bills and Dolphins.
Oh man, it's a coin toss, fellas. Miami, good weather. Buffalo, cold weather city. They're going down south. Jesus, I'm gonna go with the Buffalo Bills. I'm gonna go with the Buffalo Bills in this one. For you, Sherman.
I'm gonna go Dolphins just because we have a better quarterback, Ryan Tannehill. Against Josh Allen, rookie down. So I'll go with Dolphins. Easy one here for me. Next up, Bears and Giants. I'm gonna say Bears. Better defense, better quarterback play this year. Chris, Bears and Giants, who you taking?
Unfortunately, I'm going with the Bears. The Giants have been a mess. They're winning a couple in a row, then they lose. They're too streaky. They're not making the playoffs. Bears all the way.
Yeah, Obed, Bears and Giants.
It's going to be the Bears. I just don't know what's going on. I think, Saquon is great. I think Saquon's fantastic, but what they needed was a quarterback.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you said, say what?
I said
Saquon? Yeah.
Oh my God, Penn State man right here. Penn State guy. Let's say that, of course.
Oh, wow.
Penn State going all day. Carolina at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay plays no defense, but they put up points. I'm still going to say Carolina. Obed, Panthers and Bucks. Who you taking?
I'm going to go ahead. I'll take the Panthers. We're going to see a lot of Christian McCaffrey, and the Bucks will get 500 yards of offense, and they still lose the game. So
yeah, right. Chris, Panthers and Bucks. Who do you got here in this NFC South matchup?
I'm going to go Panthers. McCaffrey, please score 3 touchdowns. Thank you.
Thinking fantasy, I like it. And AFC South matchup: Colts and Jaguars. I don't know too many people to pay attention to this game either. But I'm saying Colts all the way. Andrew Luck has been on fire as of late. Chris, Colts and Jags.
That's clear. Jacksonville, they're terrible right now. Colts have been, like you said, they've been hot. Andrew Luck has been on fire. Colts.
Obed, Colts and Jags.
I will go Colts. I mean, like you said, on fire. 3 touchdowns in a row. 3 touchdowns in a game. I think at least 3 games in a row now for
I think it's
Andrew
actually
Luck.
7 or 8 games in a row. He's
Oh
been
wow,
doing
really?
7 or 8.
Let me not cheat the man of his accolades. The dude's doing work. Yeah, I got to give it to him. Let's go with the Colts.
Gotcha. Browns at the Houston Texans. The Texans are coming off 8 wins in a row after starting 0-3 in the season. Texans all the way. Obed, Texans and Browns. You taking?
You know what? The new look Browns don't look bad. I feel bad for Jarvis Landry. I think he's been phased out of the offense at this point. They just have so many, but they have so many weapons, right? So many people they can feed. I'm gonna take the Browns on the upset there.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, I'll go with you. Yeah, the Browns are improving. They got some good players, but Chris, Browns and Texans.
Browns look good, but not in a row. Texans.
Gotcha. The New York Football Jets at the Tennessee Titans. Jets are a mess. They're not the best. They need to move out west. I don't know what about the rest. Obed, I'm going Titans. Who are you taking?
I'm going Titans. I can't pick those fools from New York to save their life. Get out of here. They can kick rocks.
They couldn't be a wet napkin right now. They couldn't be a wet napkin right now. Chris, Jets and Titans.
Sure, I think by default, Mariota looks decent at best. Jets are horrible. Easy, Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. Next up, we got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Oakland Raiders. I think this is another no-brainer here. Patrick Mahomes leading the way. Chiefs by a lot. Chris, where you got it?
Me, easy, no-brainer. Oakland. No, I'm kidding.
The dumpster fire takes this one.
The Chiefs in a landslide.
Obed, Raiders at home against the Chiefs.
I feel bad for anybody in fantasy who's playing the Chiefs coming off the bye. They're about to come out here and light it up. But I will say this. It'd be interesting to see how they play the rest of the season. They got a really late bye. The schedule makers had a really good feeling about these guys coming out here and doing what they're doing. So they can either come out here and say we're getting back on the train and we're doing this 6 touchdown a week thing, or they're going to slow play this and try to pop at the right time and take the Super Bowl. So we'll see.
Right. I like it. A big matchup in the afternoon window of this week's games, Minnesota at New England. Probably the game of the week here. Just because it's in New England, I'm going to go New England. Obed?
Whew, man. Yeah, I have no idea what is going to happen in this game. I have a feeling that the Patriots are going to go out there and give up a whole ton of yards on defense and maybe some touchdowns, but it's just pick your poison how you want to lose. Right, Patrick Chung has probably played some of the best defense for the Patriots against the tight end position, but this could be a Kyle Rudolph game. They're going to spend a lot of time trying to lock up Adam Thielen because they know he's a problem. But if you get Stephon Diggs one-on-one with Stephon Gilmore, I'm kind of leaning towards Stephon Diggs making plays. I think it'll be a shootout. I hope the Patriots have it in them. I'm going to give them the edge for this game, though.
Gotcha. Correct. Chris, Pats hosting Vikings. Who you got?
I'm not gonna pick with my heart because I'm a Pats fan, obviously. I'm going to pick by football statistics solely. Gronk came back. He's healthy. We have Sonny Michel playing. He ran the ball effectively last week. Tom Brady, unfortunately, has not been Tom Brady of the past. He's been good, not great. Minnesota, on the other hand, they're in flux right now, but they still have, obviously, Thielen. They still have Diggs, obviously, and they have the quarterback, obviously. It's going to be a high-scoring affair. Bill Belichick, somehow, some way, will figure out how to neutralize your best player. That's what we're going to do. Second half, we'll figure it out as well, too. 34-31 Patriots. It's going to be a tight one.
I'm gonna say this around the same thing. 35-33 Patriots, something like that. Yeah, something real close. Yeah. Seattle hosting San Francisco. Easy, Seattle. Not even gonna waste time. Chris, Seattle hosting San Francisco.
Yeah, move on, Seattle.
Bring out the broom. It's a sweep.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Another big matchup this week. Los Angeles Chargers going against the Steelers. Because it's in Pittsburgh, I'm going to go Chargers, because I'm going to go to Steelers, even though the Chargers are on fire. I'm going Steelers. Obed, Steelers and Chargers.
You know, them not having Melvin Gordon this week, I felt like they should have held Melvin Gordon out last week and just saved him for this game because you kind of want to have this tiebreaker should things shake out in the AFC playoff picture. That being said, I mean, maybe them having Austin Eckler out there as the lead back gives them a dimension they weren't expecting, which could probably give them some running against the Steelers. I think they've got some injury concern with TJ Watt, which would be huge for them if he's not coming after Phillip Rivers. But again, to Phillip Rivers, top 5 dead or alive, I'm going to give it to the Chargers on this one. They're going to make their bid for why
I think their game plan switches a lot without Melvin Gordon back there, and for them. So, Chris, let me go to you. Chargers at Steelers. Do you think it's a different ball game without Melvin Gordon? Who you got?
I think so. I don't like hot teams going to the East Coast in December. I don't like it personally.
Okay.
Bad weather could be a factor.
Yeah.
You know, Big Ben threw a bad pick last week at the end of the game, which I don't know how that happened. Like you guys said.
Yeah,
I don't know how that happened. But, yeah, mind-boggling. But Melvin Gordon is out. You understand? They have Eckler playing. So that might be a game changer. I like Pittsburgh at home by 3.
Yeah, I'm going to actually say Pittsburgh at home by 13, actually. So,
oh, wow. Okay.
If Juju gives us another big play like he did in Denver, where people are usually gassed and winded, I think I could see something like that happen.
Yeah.
That's what, right. The weather's a factor.
And the last game of this week in the NFL is we have an NFC East matchup with Washington at Philadelphia. I say this is a must-win game for Philadelphia, and since it's at home, I'm gonna go Eagles. But don't be surprised if the Redskins kind of pull this out. I'm not saying Colt McCoy is the leader and the savior for them. I just think Philly has just been so iffy. I don't think the Redskins will really do anything this year, the rest of the year. But I'm still gonna say Philly. I'm gonna say Philly by 10. So I think it's gonna be maybe 20-10 or 23-13 Philly. Obed, who are you taking here? Eagles and Redskins.
I mean, I feel like Philly is going to go out here and make a statement that they can at least bang heads in the division. The Redskins, I don't know about Colt McCoy having that stronger arm than Alex Smith, but I think maybe he's got more rapport with the players since he's been there for such a long time and probably should have had the opportunity to man this team or at least make a shot at the starting spot as opposed to giving $71 million, which is guaranteed by injury, so I wouldn't be mad at Alex Smith if he went ahead and just sat the rest of his life. I'm going to give it to Philly. I did want to touch on the Washington Redskins picking up Reuben Foster on waivers, but not making a phone call to Colin Kaepernick when they have a quarterback situation. That's
Nice.
One of those.
That's a new conversation. New day for that, fellas. New day for that one.
A whole nother segment on that one.
Yeah.
But I'll take Philly on that one. Chris, what do you think?
Okay, Chris, briefly, Redskins, Eagles, what you got?
I like AP, in my opinion, the comeback player of the year because he has been doing not AP from 2004, no, but he's been a good, solid running back. Last year, he was a shell of himself last year. 2 years ago, same difference. I like AP, but Philly, this is a must-win for them. If they lose this game, they're pretty much done, so I'm going Philly.
Philly, gotcha. Well, folks, I guess that wraps it up for this week's episode of What's the Word Entertainment. I appreciate you guys coming out. Chris, definitely glad to have you here the first time. Any parting words or anything, last comments you want to say to everyone here?
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure. Let's do it again, and let's go Pats, baby.
Obed, anything last? Anyone else want to get out?
Yeah, no, thank you very much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it, Sherman. Thanks a lot for having me. Chris, it was a pleasure.
Obed, yes, be good, brother. Be good.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having us. Hope you guys have had fun.
All right, guys. Take care, man. Peace.
See you later.